Right, so we're here in Manila in the Philippines. Now you guys wanted more street interviews on people's opinions on China. So that's what we're bringing you today. We're out on the streets in Bonifacio Global City and we're asking people their raw, uncut views on China and the USA. Hi, so first of all, can I ask you where you're from?
I'm from Makati.
In the Philippines,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Born and raised here in
Oh, so you're born and raised in the Philippines, okay. Right, so if I mention the country of China to you, what are the first three things that come into your head?
For me, the silk, their products, Chinese foods, of course, and tea.
And tea?
Yes.
Okay, and yourself?
For me, it's more on cheaper price when it comes to, production, making something, buying something. So they are famous on that right now. And yeah, same thing with her. It's more on tea.
Okay, and would you say your view of China is a positive view or a negative view or?
Honestly, I mean, I don't have in between. Okay.
Okay, so a neutral view?
Yes.
Would that be for you as well?
Yes.
And where do you get your information about China from?
Actually, I don't actually search more of.
Okay.
I'm not so in particular of what will be, what are the advantage or what is the what China is about. So I'm more of what they can give to what they can provide to other countries, like their products, and what are their contribution, what they can contribute to other people.
Okay, that's very interesting. And if I say the same thing about, if I mention the USA, America, what three things come into your head?
So for America, for me, that's the country who helped most the Philippines ever since until now. And most of them are good people. I counted a lot of friends from USA. So when it comes to communicating, friendship, we build more friendship with them compared to the other Asian countries.
Okay.
So that's the good thing about Americans.
So would you think you have quite a positive attitude about the US?
Yes, of course, for me.
Okay.
My own opinion.
Yeah, that's great. And what about you? Would you think
Yes,
that's
definitely.
the case?
I'm not biased, but in my opinion, I look at US as in a more positive way, like they are giving more opportunities, job opportunities, and also their products, and they are also helping other countries.
Okay, that's really interesting. I've noticed actually here, certainly in Manila, there's a lot of American influence, a lot of brands, a lot of food, culture. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, that's really great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. First of all, can I ask you what country you're from?
Well, I'm from here, Philippines, Manila.
Okay, were you born here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Born and raised.
So, if I mention the country of China to you, what thoughts come into your mind? What are three things you could say about China?
Powerful, superpower. Yeah.
Okay.
And very progress country. Similar to America and other European countries. Yeah.
And one more thing?
And there's a lot of Chinese, I think.
A lot of people, yeah. And would you say, what would you say your overall opinion of the country of China is? Would you say it's more negative, more positive?
Well, always there's two sides. Positive, because they are progress country, very prosperous in terms of business. Also nowadays in education, there are a lot of Chinese willing to learn English as well as other countries. So I think that's good. On the other side, the bad thing is that, well, since China is superpower and we are a small country here in Southeast Asia, they're claiming the islands in Scarborough or in Spratly Island. So that's a bad news for Philippines
Okay.
or similar country like us,
Yeah.
small country.
I'd just like to expand on that because I'm aware of that situation about the Spratly Islands, the disputed territories.
Disputed.
And I'm also aware that it was actually America who were pushing this issue
Yeah.
more than the Philippines.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you think it should be just left to the Philippines and China to sort this issue out? Or are you okay that America's getting involved?
Well, since Uncle Sam is our big brother, you know, since Spanish after Spanish conquistador, I think America will help us.
Okay.
Especially we are a small country, and negotiating with China. If China and Philippines talk bilaterally, I don't think it will gain more advantage to the Philippines.
Okay, so you think it's an advantage having
Yeah.
the help from America? Okay. And then moving on to America, do you view America then positively or do you view America negatively as a world influence?
Well, in the world, America play a role like a police in the world.
Do you think that's good or not good?
Well, in some way, we need to balance, you know, the good and the bad. Well, America plays the role of that. They're just a police in the world. So I think it helps a
Okay.
lot. Like especially we're not a big country, you know. So,
And where do you get most of your information about China and America
well,
from?
multimedia, YouTube, you know. So
Okay, that's really good. Have you ever visited either country?
in China,
Have you ever visited China or America?
yeah, I've been there.
What, China?
Yeah, China.
And also America?
American, yeah.
Okay, and what did you think of your visit to China?
Well, the first thing I noticed about China is that China is no longer a poor country like what we study or what we read before. China is a progress country, so there is a lot of opportunities in China right now.
So, before you went, you thought differently about China to when you went?
Actually, I have a Chinese ancestor.
Oh, okay.
I have a Chinese name.
Oh, really? What's your
Yeah.
name?
I'm Hubert Lim.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a very popular
So I have
Chinese name.
Chinese blood.
Okay,
also,
that's great.
Because most of the Filipinos have the Spanish and
Yes,
you know,
yes, yeah,
Chinese.
because they were ruled by Spain for a long, long time, right? Okay, that's
So, yeah.
absolutely great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
What country are you from?
Here in the Philippines.
You're in the Philippines, okay. Now, if I mention the country of China to you, what first three things come into your head?
Well, first, of course, their military power and their economy and some good people.
Okay, and what's your general opinion of China as a country? What do you think about them?
They are really one of the becoming superpower right now, and they are more business-minded people because everywhere they have a business establishment and a lot of others around the world. They are very visible.
And in your opinion, do you think China are a positive influence on the world or a negative influence?
Well, there are lots of comments that revolving around the net, but I think it's a split. Some says they have, for example, our case here, the Pogo, which also China is discouraging to continue to operate here. But on some ways, their business influence are somewhat good in other point of view.
And I've noticed that here in the Philippines, the USA have quite a big influence on culture and brands and that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts of the USA?
Well, for the Western, I think they are very long influence in us since the Spanish time. They helped us, and also the culture is very popular here.
And one last question, do you think the USA have a positive influence on the world or do you think differently?
I think they're in terms of technology, I think they're very have good influence there. But sometimes I heard some stories about the geopolitical situation that we have. Maybe in case-to-case basis, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe there are some good and maybe some bad.
And have you ever visited either China or the US?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet, but you'd like to, right?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your time. That's very much appreciated. First of all, can I ask what country you're from?
I'm from Philippines.
You're from the Philippines, okay. Now, if I mention the country of China to you, what three things come into your mind?
About China?
Yeah.
I guess China was the powerful country, nice country, and I think their culture was so nice.
Okay, and do you think you have a positive view of China or not?
I guess I have a positive view.
And if I ask you the same question about America, what three things would you think about America?
Oh, America is my favorite country.
Okay.
America was a big country, also a powerful country, and the people there is so tall, unlike here. Just kidding.
Okay, and do you think America have a positive influence on the world?
Yeah, I guess.
You do. And do you think the same about China? Do you think they have a positive influence on the world?
I guess they both have a positive.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And have you been to either America or China?
No.
No. Okay.
I
That's
guess
really.
soon because I am a tourism student.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's expensive to go there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And one last question. When you get your information about different countries, where do you find that information?
Most of all in Google.
In Google.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time. I
You're
really appreciate you
welcome.
taking. Okay, so first of all, can I ask you what country you're from?
Taiwan?
You're from Taiwan?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you're here in the Philippines. Do you live here?
No, we're on a business trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I ask you, mention the country of China, what three thoughts come into your head?
China. Communism?
Just three things that come into your head.
Yeah, I think communism, and they're like near Taiwan. And I think some of the like great foods there.
Okay. And do you generally have a negative or a positive opinion of China?
Generally, no. They just mutual thoughts about
Neutral,
it.
okay. And do you think China are generally a good influence on the world or a negative influence on the world?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? So like, yeah, I think mostly it's more like, I think every country's have their own decision, and sometimes it's for their own people best interests. So, yeah.
Okay. And if I ask you about the USA, do you have a positive or a negative feeling about the USA?
Yeah, I think most of the time they're also like making their best interest out of the people there, and trying to make the best out of the people at the same time. But maybe they have several opinion of achieving that. Yeah.
And have you ever visited the US?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. And have you ever visited mainland China?
Only Hong Kong, but not China yet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Have a great day.
So can I first ask what country you're from?
I'm here from the Philippines.
From the Philippines,
Yeah, I'm a
okay.
local.
Okay, great, that's fantastic. If I ask you what your first three thoughts on China are, what would they be?
First, they'd be a bully,
Okay,
and they have really, really strong ideology. And for the last time, they have a they're very powerful.
very
Powerful.
powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, and would you say you have what would you say your overall opinion on China is? Would it be more negative, more positive, or?
Well, when it comes to politics, I'm really neutral about it. But when I hear the news about what they're doing and their random military testings, I kind of, it's a big negative impact for me.
Okay.
Because it's a threat, not just for the Philippines, but for its neighboring countries, and sometimes from nations that can, that treats them as a threat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever visited China?
Not yet.
No, yes. And where do you get most of your information about China from?
Mostly I read news articles.
Would that be online or in newspapers?
Online. Yes.
Okay. Now, if I asked you the same similar questions about the USA, what are your first three thoughts about the USA?
First three thoughts about the USA?
Yeah.
Well, they're like China as well. Yeah, very powerful. They have a strong sense when it comes to freedom and liberty, but from the way I hear about USA, they're not that kind. They're not that kind of.
Okay.
In that stance, and mostly racism.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a generally positive or negative view of America?
Based from the history, I studied their history, and they're right now it kind of mixed.
So you would say you're quite neutral on that. What would you view as positive about the US, and what would you view as negative about the US?
Only one.
As many as you like.
Oh, for the positive one, I think it's their type of government. Like the federalism, like they have their own system of government over all the states. So each of them has their own freedom and their own rights and their own laws and stuff, compared to the Philippines, of course. And by negatives, I think they kind of cover up a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what
That's interesting.
hear. Yeah.
One last question. Do you think generally America have a positive influence or a negative influence around the world?
That's a really, really sensitive question. I think it depends on which part of the world they influence.
Okay. Yeah.
So it sometimes in the Middle East it's not good. In the Philippines it's sometimes good. Let's say it's China, it's not good, and sometimes in Russia it's not good. But some parts of the Asia and Europe they're good. So it's kind of a mixed.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
No
I really
problem.
appreciate it. That's really some great opinion. That's really what we're looking for, man. Okay, so first of all, can I ask where you're from?
Sure. I'm from Vietnam.
From Vietnam.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I mention the country of China to you, what three things do you think about China?
About China?
Yeah.
About technology.
Uh-huh.
About the building.
Uh-huh.
And about the food.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you think you have what's your opinion on China? Do you think it's positive or negative or?
About my opinion, I think positive.
Okay.
Because I can speak Chinese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, but I have never been there.
Okay. Would you like to go there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
And do you think China are a positive influence on Vietnam or a negative influence on Vietnam?
I think positive too. Yeah.
And now let me ask you about America, the USA.
Yeah.
What three things come into your mind about the USA?
Three things. To be honest, I'm not really interested about US.
Okay, so is your opinion positive or negative about the US?
I think so.
So-so.
No idea.
No idea,
Yes.
okay. So do you think America have a positive influence on the world or a negative influence on the world?
I think a negative.
A negative influence. Okay, that's really great. Thank you so much for your time. It's very appreciated.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Okay, can I first of all ask you what country you're from?
We're from Philippines.
You're from the Philippines, okay. Now, if I mention the country of China to you, what do you think about the country of China? Just some quick thoughts.
Communist country.
And
strict.
strict?
Yes.
Okay, and one more thing?
Liberated country.
Okay. And if I ask you the same question about America, what are three things you think about of America?
Powerful country, liberated also.
Rich country.
And rich country.
A rich country, okay. What's your view overall on China?
Excuse me?
What's your view of China? Do you think it's more negative, more positive?
From our point of view, we think it more of a negative.
Okay. And what about America? Do you think that's more negative or positive?
For America, I think it's more positive because we're kind of like ally country.
They're an ally country,
Yes.
okay. And you mentioned that you said you have a bit of a negative view on China. Can you tell me a little bit more why you have a negative view?
I think because we're having conflict with about territory.
A territory dispute. Okay, that's quite interesting. But do you think, I know America are getting involved in that territory dispute. Would you think it would be better if America stepped out and let the Philippines and China sort out this issue alone?
I think I won't let our government do the work regarding to
The dispute.
yes, the dispute between China and Philippines.
So you want just your government to do
Yes.
it and not have America
Not have
involved?
America, yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. So as young people, where would you get most of your information about China or America from?
From Facebook and news.
Social media.
Yes, social
So mainly social media?
Yes.
Okay, and do you think that information on social media is accurate and factual, or do you think sometimes there can be a lot of misinformation on there?
I think it's more on mixed information.
Okay.
Some media are biased, stuff like that.
Okay, that's really great. Thanks so much for your time. That's really appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there you go, some views from people here in the Philippines. And I must say, I didn't find it too surprising that there was sort of a pro-bias towards the USA here, because walking around the Philippines, it's obvious that there's a huge influence here from the USA, just in the way people speak, the foods, the brands here, the restaurants, everything like that. But it's very, very interesting to hear, and as you've asked in the comments, we'll keep trying to bring you the kind of interview, street opinion videos when we travel to different places. If you do like it, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. But as always, for now, take care.